What is up guys, this is Wim, and in this video we will create a very unique and dark sounding melodic techno track from scratch, and I'm gonna show you exactly how I choose samples and presets, and also of course how we're gonna come up with a unique arrangement for this track. Let's get started. So what I have in mind here is creating really a nice and dark sounding, very unique melodic techno track, which also has maybe a different kind of kick pattern here. And yeah, we just really want to get creative this time and think a little bit outside of the box. So let's just start with a nice and solid kick, and I already have my favorites here sorted out. So let's just have a look. Looking for a nice and dark sounding minimal kick. This one could work, and then we can also already start creating a sub bass here. This time I think I just want to use a sine wave over here. And yeah, to hear this, of course, you need some solid speakers or headphones on. And I think of starting this track with a very dark atmosphere and just this bass here playing over and over again. And then we can add this kick pattern later on. So this time we don't want to have a classic 4/4 kick pattern, so we're just gonna get creative here and drag it out a bit longer. And we're gonna get back in here later, but first I want to add a little clap sound just to have another reference point here. And we also want to find something a bit more creative, so I'm gonna search my percussion folder here. Yeah, maybe we could use a Stark rim shot here. I think this head sound could also get interesting. We want to add quite some reverb, so let's just see how this sounds here. Yeah, this one sounds very cool. Maybe we can combine it with this dark rim shot. Maybe turn this one down a bit. Yeah, I think this is already creating quite a nice atmosphere in our track here. So the idea here is really to play this bass here first, maybe with some atmosphere sounds. Then we can start to introduce some drums maybe. And then we can introduce this a bit more interesting kick pattern here. And maybe later on we could switch to a classic 4/4 beat. And then we can really get this melodic techno track here going. So it would function really nice as a set opener for a DJ or for our EP as well. So let's just see if this one would work as well. Yeah, I think that could really work if we had some more drums. So maybe let's try to find a minimal shaker sound in here. And it's really important that you play around with some different samples here, so you don't stick with the first best sample. And of course, we also want to tweak them this time. For example, I think I would definitely add some equalizing here and cutting away all the high frequencies, but let's have a look first. So I want to shorten the sample up quite a bit here. Yeah, right now I'm not trying to spend too much time here on each sample and just try to keep the workflow going. And I think something that could get interesting if we take this rag that we created in the other tutorial where I explained this ambient head sound. I will link it here in the top right side for you guys. If you haven't seen it, it sounds like this. Especially if we add some reverb. Very interesting sound. But this time we actually don't need so much crazy automation here. I just want to have pretty much a basic head sound. Still too much automation on the decay here. Maybe just 5% or something. So we have some kind of analog movement here. And then we can start to create a little bit more interesting pattern. I don't want to use this classic 16 head note here. Add a little bit of feedback. Then we can add some random pitch here, which also works great. That just adds way more groove over here. Yeah, we can get back into here and maybe tweak it. I was also thinking about making it a little bit more of a percussion sound. Maybe we can even automate this, but first I want to create a little bit more interest here in the kick and bass group, and I think this time I could use a couple of tom sounds. Yeah, maybe those two could fit together quite good. Let's have a look. This one sounds fine, but this one I want to tweak a little bit. You can hear that it has quite some reverb on top, so I will just take down the width a little bit. Also too many high frequencies for my taste. So it's almost kind of melting with this bass sound together, and I think that could work great in our track already. This clap sound has quite a strong transient, so what works great for this sometimes is to use the decapitator here and turn up the distortion quite high. So this one is kind of clipping our clap sample here a bit. And sounding a little bit closer to a clap sound now actually. It works great on the sample here. Now let's add a couple ambient sounds, so we have a little bit of melodic reference in our track which we can work with. I will have a look in my new Diva preset pack that I'm working on right now, so maybe we can just add one of those pad sounds as a long sustained note. So stuff like this could work great with a bunch of reverb on top here. That's a bit too high, of course, we want to have this dark atmosphere. Yeah, this one is quite interesting. And now we could create something that sounds a little bit more like an ARP sound. Short and plucky sound here. I think this melody could work great, but let's have a look if we can find another preset here, maybe in my favorites. Oh, this one is sounding really nice. I was looking for something like this with a lot of reverb here applied. And we can really nicely use this for our background sound here. Maybe we just can add some compression here real quick. So this clap sound is also not too harsh. Yeah, having quite a nice effect. We could do the same on the kick and bass group already here. And that's exactly the reason why I also took this tom groove here into the kick and bass group, because I want to have this compressor applying to all three of those, so they are also kind of melting together here. So very subtle effect here, but they're definitely grooving better together. Maybe we can also make this clap groove here a bit more interesting. Maybe something like this could work. I don't really want this sharp transient here at the beginning, but I really like this tail sound here. Maybe it could work if we just add this slightly in the background. And then we could end it straight after the second clap it here. It could fit perfectly on this one. Yeah, I think that makes it way more interesting already. Nice organic sound. And then I think we want to add it here as well. And it has this very high bell sound. We actually don't really need that, so let's just cut this away. Yeah, exactly those frequencies here. We just want to have this organic, nice sounding stuff here, and we also don't need the super low frequencies. Yeah, that sounds way better. So this one is just very slightly panned to the right here, the sample. I actually don't really like this on my clap sounds because in my opinion the clap should always hit pretty much in the center. Just gonna pan this slightly back to the left side here. But this is already quite a good loop to start with, and because this is quite a unique track in general, especially with the arrangement, I want to take this here into the arrangement view and start building our track on here from the intro. So let's just do that. And as I said, I really like the sub-bass sound as an atmospheric element here, especially on the dance floor. This will create some really nice interest because the sub-bass is really kind of punching you in the chest, and that could work great with some ambient sounds. Then we could maybe also introduce this other monophonic pad sound here first, and then later we could also bring this more arpeggiator kind of style sound. And yeah, the drums maybe also coming in later. But first let's work a little bit more on the atmosphere sounds. And for that I really like to use proper atmosphere samples. So I just go into my samples folder here real quick. And how I usually do is just type the key that we are working in here. And then I can already see which sample packs have the E minor chord here in there. And then for example we have a soundscapes folder here. And let's see if something like this could work. Maybe the drone sounds could work better here. Of course, the melodics of those samples here have to match with our own melodics that we have, for example, in here. And usually you want to take the warp mode out here because it doesn't have any tempo anyways. So as you can see, I took some time. I found a bunch of cool samples that I placed in here. We have some nice vocal transitions over here, and then we just have a lot of atmosphere sounds and transition sounds, and they already fill up our track very nicely in the beginning here. And now of course we could also start to add some more melodic elements and really build up our track here. But first you should have a listen how this sounds now. So this sounds really nice for the intro, and then from here on, of course, we will start to add some more interesting elements here for our synth sounds. And I actually just remembered that in one of my tracks here, I had this very nice high pad sound from a repro here. So I literally just went into the project and dragged it in here. And I think it could work great also in our project here. And we also had some very nice and dark drums. Maybe we could also see if we can use some of this. And sometimes it's just really nice to recycle some elements of your previous tracks, because you probably already spent a bunch of time on working on that. So let's just see if something of this works. So let's put this in our drum group here. But let's see if we can use this pad sound over here. Really nice and big sound. I think we could already use this maybe in the intro. Maybe it's a bit too extreme and we need to do some automations here on the cutoff. I actually don't want to have the envelope here on the filter. I want to do the automation by myself and just turn down this cutoff at the beginning. Something like this already sounds quite cool. Maybe we can add the big Valhalla shimmer effect over here. And then we can also use the auto pan here as a little automation, turn up the speed towards the end of the loop. And maybe even also the amount. Let's have a look. Can go even faster a little bit, maybe 8,000 to 10,000 could work. Yeah, we can just sometimes use this as a transition sound, just duplicate it over here. Maybe we could even just try to use the root note first. And then later introduce some more melodic content, but of course we need to introduce some other synth sounds over here to make it a little bit more interesting. I think this could get interesting. And of course, I'm not the best keyboard player ever, but this is always a good way to start your melodic elements here by just playing around with your keyboard. And then, of course, we can go in here and make some other adjustments. Then I would really like to add again the auto pan here, and then we could try again to use the LFO effect to make it a bit more interesting. For example, you could just take this LFO, maybe slow it down quite a bit, and then we want to map the LFO to the rate here, and of course just have a very gentle automation here. yeah, sounds way more interesting. So you can see just jamming around with my keyboard here, but this is sounding way more interesting than just putting in your melody with your mouse. So of course this is not quantized perfect, but all of this of course is also making it way more interesting. And especially with this other chord sound here. Also, maybe we could cut away this simple kick groove over here, and then we can maybe build up the tension somewhere here and also introduce our final 4/4 floor kick where we can really start to drive up this track a little bit faster. Of course, we could also try to start adding some other drum elements here. So at this point, the people on the dance floor really know the track is kind of starting. Just kind of playing around with the arrangement here. Of course, this is nothing final yet, but first we need to introduce some more elements in our melodic group here. And now we could maybe use something more rhythmic, like a nice arpeggiator that can drive our track a little bit more forward. Also nice atmospheric sound, we could maybe use it later. Nice detune sound, could also work great, kind of like a Wu York style patch here. And sometimes it's just also good to record something on your keyboard, just a very long part, and then later we're gonna go in there and maybe loop a little small section of that. Sound quite interesting, maybe we can go in here and do something with this part here at the end. And then I just usually like to solo this one, put the metronome on, and then we can loop this small section over here. Of course, you can also hit Command L. sounds quite interesting, but not perfect yet. We could use, for example, this transition sound here again, and maybe we also want to create another version of this lead here. If you really want to keep your track interesting, it's a good way to not copy this over again, because we want to have it unique every single time. Of course, you could copy it and then go back in here and maybe put something 2 octaves up or whatever, and it already sounds a bit different, but of course, it's better to just record a new version of that. And of course we can also recycle some of those ambient sounds here. Maybe some of the transition sounds here. For example, this one. Really nice swoosh effect, but for those sounds is also very important. They're playing very loud in the track to also add some nice sidechain compression. So before that it's kind of sweeping in and then it's ducking again, and that has a really nice effect here. And I have another sound here in mind from the Yui Diva. And I think we can just record a little bit of automations here for that one. Sounds quite nice already, but I want to cut away the high frequencies here again, not with the auto pen, but of course with the auto filter here. You can add also quite some nice resonance. And maybe we can also have this one already playing on the drop. just as a little addition here to the other elements, so we don't always have this pad sound. And then we can also, of course, add some automations here. We could also automate the noise here. It's creating really a lot of tension here. I really like this. But there's still, of course, a lot of empty space here in between those lead sounds. So we could also add some other elements. For example, the rack that we also used to create this hi-hat sound here. And then maybe also introduce this ARP sound a little bit earlier here. And yeah, we could slowly introduce this ARP sound over here. So let's just also record a little automation over here. also want to automate the color frequency here. And then maybe we could also do a little bit more action on that resonance filter here. And now, of course, we also want to automate this ambient ARP here. Of course, you could also just leave this pretty much playing through the whole track like this because it's more of an ambient element, but we can also use it to create some extra tension here at some points. So we're really leaving some space for the ARP now. And now as we introduce some more drum elements, we can also bring this atmosphere here up again. But yeah guys, as you can see, we already created a very nice intro for this track here, and of course we can go on and on, but I think you already saw the most interesting elements here. And of course, in case you guys want to finish this template up, it will be available in the description for my Patreons. And if you enjoyed this format where I do kind of more like a live production here, please let me know in the comments, and of course by smashing the like. Thank you guys as always, and I'll see you in the next one.